Hi, welcome to TechCrunch, a place where we learn and earn technical skills in the most efficient way. Let's make coding fun. JDBC API, JDBC Practice Project Part 2. Today we are going to present you a live demonstration and implementation of displaying data from table using JDBC API with Oracle Express 11J database server connection for Florist application. In the last session, we have seen how we can connect to the different type of database server using type 4 pure thin Java JDBC driver. We are continuing that project, and in the next step, we are going to see how we can get the values from the database and display it in the Java console using JDBC API. This session is divided into two parts. First step, we are going to see how we can design the database. And for that, we need to assume that we already have downloaded and installed Oracle Express 11G database server, which is free. The second step we are going to implement is JDBC API for displaying the data from the database and displaying it in the Java console. So that comes in a Java program. So let's start with the step 1. For that, first we need to create a table in the database which we have created in the last session and connected to the JDBC API using type 4 driver, and this database already connected, and we need to create a table for online florist application. So design goes like this. We are going to have Oracle SQL command prompt, and here we are going to create a table, online florist table. Purchase date will be your date type of variable. Customer ID, that will be your varchar type. Customer name, varchar type. Number of flowers, type of flowers, price, and email. A very simple and basic type of database design and the table creation for online florist application. Now let's first see the demo. So for that, I'm going to open my SQL command prompt, and I'm going to connect to the database, and this is my database schema, and here my root password. As you can see, it is connected now. Now first thing, we need to create table, and the table name is online florist, and this table has the variable purchase date. So all I'm going to start making my table design first. So purchase date will be my date type. Purchase date is a date variable in the database, and we have customer ID. So I'm going to make it a short customer ID varchar type, which is nothing but your random string, and let's make it 30 type of size of the string. Customer name, and that again has varchar type 2, and again the same size of it. You can have more for this, 50. And number of flowers in a bouquet or any kind of gift you want to have it in your flowers. So that will be your number type, and I can give some number like 20. Type of flower, or like a name of the flower, so that will be your string type. So varchar type 2, and I can give the name 200. Price will be your number type, and that number can be 20. And email will be your string type, so varchar type, and give some size of it, 100. And so table is created. If you see the description of this table for the confirmation and for more clarity, you can see here. So purchase date, customer ID, customer name, number of flowers, type of flower, price, and email. Next step, we need to insert the data. So insert into is the command. insert into is a statement and the table name online florist. There are so many ways you can add insert the data in the table. I'm just using one of the way just for the make it simple. Values, there is one way called sysdate is the purchase date, and for string what you can do is you can use ampersand for the runtime insertion. This is called runtime insertion means while execution it will ask you for the inserting the values instead of making it a complete statement again and again. There's so many ways you can do it, so I'm just using this way. And number of flowers will be your number types. So number of flowers, string, type of flower, and price and email. So you will see the difference here. It will ask you, and the system this is already included. The purchase date is nothing but the system date which is already inserted. Is asking for some kind of customer ID. I'm just giving some random value. Customer name tech, number of flowers 34, type of flower rose, price 23.4, email some dummy, and it is inserted. To execute it again I can use a backslash and I can give another value. So this time I'm going SST002, customer name, some dummy name Danny, and number of flowers 45, type of flower jasmine, and price 21, email asd@yahoo.co.uk, some value. So I have inserted 2 rows in this table. So let's do the commit. So my first step, designing the database, is done. Next step, we need to have a Java program to read those values in the Java console using this menu and this type of presentation. Now let's take a look at the Java program for displaying the data. So this is my Eclipse IDE, and I'm going to continue from my last project, practice project here, where we have connected our database, Oracle and MySQL. We are going to consider Oracle here. So let's create a new class, and the class name is display data online florist, and I need the main method inside it. So I'm going to make another method, public void, for display data, and inside this method I'm going to create a connection object which I'm going to carry it over from the last class which I had implemented and connected the database here. So this was actually, I'm trying to do the inheritance here. You can see extending this class from this package, and this class already have my connection methods included. So I'm going to use the get Oracle connect method. So what I'm going to do here is creating an object of this class, and calling that method from that class like this. So what is happening here, and I need to include the package. I have to include some throws, and okay, So this has to include it inside the display method. So we can catch the throws declaration here like this. So once the connection is established, we need to start using the display implementation. So for that, if we refer to our last session, how we can get the values from the user. So if we see here how we get the values from the database, how we work in the JDBC when we have to get the value. First we do the connection, then we create the statement. So we have done the connection, now it's time to create a statement, declare the result set, and then execute the queries, and that will help you to display the values. So get connection is done when we actually get the value, get the connection from the database server using JDBC type 4 JDBC driver. Now next step we need to create the statement. So connection is done. Next step we are going to create the statement, and I'm going to just have an object of statement, and connection will be linked to this, and this will help you to create the statement here. It will show me error because I have to include the package, SQL package, and throws the exceptions as usual, SQL exception. So connection is done. Next is declare the result set. Result set will help you to store it in an object when we get the value from the database and execute the query. So for displaying the value, we are going to use the execute query. This will help you to have a direct statement. When we have a statement that will have no composition needed or not pre-compiled composition of the statement, then we can use your execute query. So you can see here what is happening here when we're just getting the passing the argument of a select query in an execute query and store it in an object of result set, the values which is going to be get from after execution of this SQL query. Now next step is we need to run it in loop. Inside the loop, while loop we are going to use to read the values from the database and check with the result set. As long as it is reading, it will give you the true condition. And inside the while loop, we are going to store all the values of the table in the variables. So it will keep on working until it will find the value. So before that, let's first declare some variable, purchase date, and we have customer ID, customer name, price is a type of flower, and email. So this is a declaration. Now we need to define some null values. So let's give some initialized. So declaration and initialization of string variables is done. Similarly for int, where we have price, which is not needed to initialize, and the number of flowers. So once this is done, what we are going to do, it is not needed to be uppercase because it will check with the, it is not case sensitive basically. So you don't have to make it in a uppercase and lowercase. It should work. RST dot, so customer ID is get string and column index is your customer ID. You have to just make sure you're writing the right spellings and the letters of the column index name because that sometimes give an error. So customer ID, then customer name. This is again string type. So RST is the result set object and the get string, and column index is the column name in the database. So customer name and termination. Type of flower equals, type of flower is again a string type. So get string. Since we need to write down the column index name, so make sure, I'm repeating again, you have to make sure you're writing the same name of the no flower s if it is not flower s. And email, again it is a string type. You don't have to make it in a sequence, that is not needed. Sequence is not needed because it is anyway going to store it in a variable, and that variable will be displayed later. Price equals rst.getInt. Column index name is price. Many times it happens that you have not written the correct name of the column in the column index name. It will show you the error. So make sure every time number of flowers, see like this. Why it is showing error now? Okay, it will come again. Get int, and is it number of flowers? And I don't know. It is number of flowers. And once this is done, only thing left is print out. Next step, we are going to display the values. So you have purchase date plus space. Next is customer ID plus space customer name, or sequence, so that because the table will be displayed as per the variables you mentioned. So if you wish, you can put it in sequence or just like that, it should be fine. Next is type of flower, and this has to add one. Price email. That's it. So your method is all done. So next step, we need to have the main method. So in this, all you have to make sure you are try and catch clause, or to make it more organized and structured. Next step, we need to call it in the main method. So for that, first we need to create an object of the class, and since we are going to display it in a make a menu for the user to choose the options. So first we have to have a menu for the user. So inside the do while loop, for now I'm going to display only two options: the display data and exit. Later we'll add more. Enter your choice. And you can use scanner or you can use buffer reader. I'm going to use buffer reader for now. And getting the value from the user. Input stream reader. And getting the value from the user in the using system input. That's it. It's showing me error because I have to include the IO package. Now once this is done, we have to store the value in some variable and parsing it to primitive method. So I'm assuming that you have seen my sessions in core Java for more details. Stay tuned for more upcoming interesting tutorials for Java and practice project ideas to have an hands-on experience. So case 1 is your displaying data. So what I'm going to do, we have to make an object and call the method display data. And just for the more better presentation, mention the message after displaying the data done. Display data from the table online florist table done. And break. And case 2 is for exit. So exit will go like a system exit and 0. And break. So this will help you to come out of the loop in case user wanted to come out of the menu. Default in case if user enters some other options, deciding invalid choice. And closing the while loop. This is the switch loop and this is the while loop. So do while loop with true. If the condition true, then it will come out of the loop. Now there is one error here. Let's take a look. What is it about? Throws declaration. I can do this because it's parsing, so it is asking for the input output throws. And this is again the same thing. SQL exception. So this is my, and here we need to include the exception. So it's showing me the menu. The compiler starts from the main thread, and inside the main method we have the menu displayed. Suppose I mention 1. So it is connecting from the database. It's calling to the connection class, and from there it is connecting to the Oracle database, and I have included the Oracle connected object. And once this is done, then it will execute the SQL query and displaying the data in the result set, and here it is displaying in the values. Here you can even add the where condition and execute that particular query. Display data from the online florist table done. And if I say exit, it will exit me. So to make it more precise value reading from the database, what you can do here, where cust id equals, now the issue is going to happen here is we need to get the value with a specific ID or name or any specific column name value. So suppose I made the customer ID ASD 002. If I execute this value, let's see if it will work. Yes, see. So this is what is happening. It displaying the value for specifically for customer ID ASD 001 for Mr. Danny. You see? So all we need to pass such a query inside the execute query method that will directly compiled, which is not need to be pre-composed or pre-compiled. That is called the execute query method. And here we create a statement. Some places we need the prepare statement that we'll learn in the next session when we'll work for the insertion data from Java console to the database. So this was the live demonstration and implementation of displaying the data using result set and execute query method in JDBC API online florist application connecting to the Oracle Express Edition 11G database server. In the next session, we are going to show you how we can insert the data using prepare statement and see the difference, how it works and make the difference when we work in the execute query and execute create statement and prepare statement. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and do like our video and post your comment in the comment section about your views. And any kind of assistance questions, please email and contact us techranch2019@gmail.com. Let's make coding fun. Thank you.